She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thank you so much for joining us. All of us here are very blessed that you chose to spend this next hour here on the Dani Johnson Show. Hey, you know that every day we are bringing you content, strategies, even development of skill in areas that are going to help to improve your business or career, your finances, as well as your relationships, even your spiritual life with our spiritual equipping show that takes place once a week, every single week. Today, I'm excited. I came into a conversation with somebody recently that I really wanted to talk to you about. So it really works out perfect that we're being able to have this conversation today. I really believe that what we're going to talk about is going to challenge you and in some cases might even relieve you, might even make you feel better about the job you are doing, the work that you are putting forward, as well as see ahead, looking into the future. Maybe some things that you might have wished that your parents might have taught you that you then have the opportunity to teach the kids that are around you, whether you have kids yourself or you have nieces and nephews or grandchildren, whichever that it is. We all have influence on the next generation that's being groomed. And they're either being groomed for failure or they're being groomed for success. You might be thinking, Dani, what are you talking about groomed? I'm not talking about cutting their hair, brushing their teeth, and things like that. No. Taking the wax out of their ears and not eating their boogers anymore. That's not what I'm talking about. Those things are important. Don't get me wrong. But what is very, very important is you imparting as well as inspiring the gift of excellence into the next generation that is around you. Excellence and diligence brings success. It really does. Success is never going to happen without excellence and without diligence. So this is why we're talking about this today. Recently, I was having a discussion with somebody, and it brought me back to years and years ago when I was homeschooling my kids who are now all grown, and 3 of them are married, 2 of them have had babies, and 2 more still are left to get married. When I was homeschooling, and this was like, they were very, very young, there was a parent-teacher conference. So I was a part of a co-op that 2 days a week where we got to tap into a teacher, and they took care of all the grading at that time. It was like my initiation into homeschooling, so I wasn't completely overwhelmed. So the kids were gone 2 days a week, and they had a teacher those 2 days a week. So interestingly, I had a friend, their kid went to the same school, and then there was my kids who went to the same, co-op, if you will. And the discussion was that I know that this one kid, the night before, he wrote out this paper. He didn't put a lot of time into it, didn't put a lot of effort. And then there was my kid that for 2 weeks studied hard, researched hard, did his absolute very best and got a C. The other kid, literally, the night before, just banged that paper out and he got an A. And this teacher actually was comparing my son to this other son. And she really kind of rubbed me the wrong way in her comparison that, well, so-and-so, he does it like this, this, and this. And, you, so-and-so, you need to do this, this, and this. And that, first of all, is the wrong thing to do, to use another kid's name, especially when it's a family friend, and to make the comparison with that kid. I think that's completely wrong. But this is what was my answer to her. I said, you know what? I said, there are some kids and some personalities, they have a natural bend to be able to write, to creatively write, to come up with stories and do a great job without even barely trying. And then there's other kids that's not their gifting. That's not their personality. That's not how they were wired. That's not how they were knitted in their mother's womb. Those kids are gifted in other areas. Maybe it's math, maybe it's science, maybe it's something else. But I can tell you that the way that you are condescending to my son, I watched him for 2 weeks study hard, work hard to prepare this particular paper. I also know the one that you're talking about just picked up the pen last night, shot it out of his head, and bam, banged it out, and banged out an A. I said, so tell me, which one is excellent? Which is excellent in this equation? The one who worked hard, studied hard, and gave it their absolute best? Or the one who just very flippantly pulled out an A out of his pocket? Which worked harder? Which was diligent? Which worked with excellence? There's something wrong with our grading system. So anyway, I want to pass this on to you because right now, your kids could be struggling or they can be excelling. But what we really have to look for is, are they working with excellence and are they working with diligence? You know, when something comes easy to somebody, they have a tendency of never mastering that thing. Why? Because when they compare themselves to everybody else, they're better than everybody else. They do better than everybody else, so therefore they don't have to put forth the effort that others have to put forth. So what is that doing for that person's character? What kind of character is that? That, oh, well, because I'm the best and I'm better than everyone else that's around me. Well, who is around you? Are they excellent? Are they even any kind of competition? That's what I love about business. You know, I've purposely put myself in organizations and around other people who are far smarter than me, that make much more money than I do, who have much more responsibility than I do, that have bigger staffs than I have, putting myself in front of people that make what I do look like it's nothing, like it's peanuts, it's like baby steps, it's like, it almost looks like, why even do it, in comparison to some of my colleagues and friends who run much bigger corporations or have much more influence or deal with a much larger staff and much bigger problems or have much more influence, much more influence and much more power than I think I might have, which is pathetic. Anyway, so why do I do that? Because in my arena, I'm the best at what I do, right? But does that mean I'm the best? No way. No way, no way, no way. And if I settle for being the best in my little tiny sandbox, I will never reach my full potential, ever. And neither will you. And neither will your kids. So I think it's really important that we work on character in ourselves and for our children, that the grade is not the grade that we look to, but it's what kind of effort did I put forth? Did I really put forth excellence and diligence? Did I really give it my best shot, or am I skating by on some natural talent? I'd love to know what you have to say about that. I'd love to know what you think about that, because we literally have, a world that is filled with people who are not excellent and not diligent. And this is why 98% of the population ends up dead or dead broke at the age of 65. They do. Because they didn't really ever know what it was like to truly be their best, to give it their best, to work with excellence, and to work with diligence. Here's this awesome quote. I'm going to pass it on to you that Mary found. If you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. By the way, that's biblical. Excellence is not an exception. It's a prevailing attitude. Colin Powell said that. Of course, after, Solomon said it. And Jesus said it. Yeah. Anyway, Virginia Morello from Santa Fe, Texas. There's a Santa Fe, Texas. Imagine that. I never knew that there was a Santa Fe, Texas. Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. So tell me, were you groomed with the character trait of excellence? And are you grooming your children for excellence?
I was not. And I was hoping that I was doing the right thing. And then 2 years ago, I attended one of your trainings and realized, wow, I've got some work to do.
What was the work that you needed to do?
I guess I and my children as well come by things naturally and easily. And like you were just saying, are we actually doing our best work? Or are we just getting by, skating by? I was the kid that could write the paper the night before and get an A. So I find it as an adult now that I'm in the adult world, that doesn't really work so well.
No. You get passed right by as an adult with that kind of habit.
Yes.
Yes. So did you say that you brought your kids to First Steps to Success, or a daughter? Or?
I did. I brought my oldest daughter 2 years ago. I partnered with a friend and we started a business, and she said, okay, that's great. Let's do this. There's a business training I'd like you to attend. And her husband looked at me and said, this is going to change your life.
Wow.
And I smiled and I'm like, okay. I kind of took it with a grain of salt because that's some pretty big promising. And it absolutely has.
How so?
It's taught me to look at relationships differently.
Yep.
And to, I was kind of a blamer. It's somebody else's fault that I can't get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And really take a good look in the mirror to see what I could do to fix things in a men relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So how'd that translate to your daughter? What happened with your oldest daughter? How old was she, by the way, at First Steps?
She was 12 years old.
Okay.
And so I went with my business partner and her husband and their 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat in the front row. So the girls sprawled out on the floor and diligently took notes the entire weekend. But halfway through the training, and, I can't really remember what the first part was because it's been a while, but she looked at me halfway through that first day and said, Mom, can life really be like this?
Yes. Yes, it can. Wow.
So we're kind of on the same page. We're working. I feel like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but I work really hard every day, and I think she does too.
That's awesome. Versus just skating by on the minimums and looking better than you should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's just incredible.
Yep, it is. I'm guilty of that in one area of my life as well. I skated by on the minimums with my physical body for 30 years. I got pregnant 30 years ago with Christina, and I didn't work out after that. I was a competitive athlete, through school, very competitive and very serious about athletics. And then I got pregnant my senior year in high school, and then I just completely dropped the whole athletic thing. And I skated by on the minimums. I skated by with being able to control my weight with food, and I cleanse every quarter. Been doing that for 21 years, and just skated by on the minimums. And there was no excellence in that. There was no diligence in that. And then here I'm facing 50, going, the minimums don't look very good. The minimums aren't looking very good at all. They're moving and jiggling in all kinds of different directions. And not only that, but when I looked ahead and I looked at 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, if I continue to skate by on the minimums and have no excellence or diligence with my physical body, with the temple of the Holy Spirit, what does that look like? It translates to being completely hunched over. It translates into being on 15 different medications like my mother. It translates into having all kinds of health problems, which is a big burden on my family. It translates into aches and pains and saying, no, I wish I could. No, I can't. No, I wish I could. No, I wish I'm old. Skating by on the minimums doesn't bring success in anything, but excellence and diligence will. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
If your child is a star athlete, star musician, or star student, this next segment will help you take them to the next level. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
But I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
Change your habits, change your future. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
You know, Dani, my kid, he's just natural. It's just a natural. You know, things just come easy for him. He's a straight A student. He's the best player on the basketball team. I mean, he's just the star. You know what I think is so funny about that? Is that's actually setting that kid up for failure. And he obviously doesn't have any good competition around him. Because something happens when you take that star A student and great basketball player and you put him with real great students and real star basketball players. Come on, we all went through this, right? It's funny how life is. Life is, it goes in cycles. Remember how you couldn't wait to get to the 6th grade because you'd be the big dog on campus, right? You know, and then you had that big dog moment for that whole 9 months. And then, you're going into 7th grade and you're like so psyched. And then you're a nobody all over again. Same thing happens when, you couldn't wait to be in the 8th grade because you're the big dog again. And then you go into the 9th grade and you are such a no one and you are so picked on. And then you just can't wait to get to that senior year. And then you get there, you got that 9 months of glory. And then you go to college and you are nothing, even more nothing, even more nothing than you've ever been in your life. Why? Because we get to different levels of competition that is around us. We get to different levels of people's excellence and their skill and ability. This is life, isn't it? It's the same with your job. Now, I think what is so important that we train up the next generation with and that we train ourselves up with is excellence. You see, there's a problem if you're the best and you're only surrounding yourself with people who are less. It does not pull good character out of you, and it doesn't pull good character out of your children. Excellence and diligence is something that we have to teach ourselves and our kids. And it happens with little things like the dishes in the dishwasher. It happens with little things like tucking in their sheets and pulling their sheet to the top of the bed before they put the covers over it. Making their bed every morning. Yes, making sure to take a shower. Even shave with your teenage son, like mine, who started shaving at 12 years old. Washing your hair, organizing your closet, excellence in the schoolwork, excellence in the research. Not perfection, but excellence, followed by diligence. And when we allow our straight A students and the star of the basketball team or the head cheerleader to think that they are all that, simply because they don't have anyone better that is around them, we are setting our kids up for failure in the future. Because the attitude of skating by and being the best will not work in the future, will not work in the business community, will not work in the finances. It definitely won't work in marriage and in parenting. It doesn't work. I got to ask you a question. If you were to grade yourself in the category of excellence, what would the grade be? What would your grade be at home as a spouse? Where is their excellence as a spouse? Where is their excellence as a parent that you have, that you're putting forth excellence as a parent? What about at work as a worker in the marketplace? What about in your finances? Where is there excellence in your finances? Like demolishing all of your debt and being completely debt-free, right? Starting to learn to invest and create wealth for your future and for future generations. Where would you be graded in excellence? Or have you just settled into mediocrity like most people have? That those star students in high school are nothing but has-beens today. Why? Because something came easy to them and their parents and teachers and associates let them skate by on minimums because their minimums was an A. It was easy to get the A. That which is easy for you to get is mediocre. That's mediocre. But that which that you got to train yourself for, that which that you got to learn something new for, that which that you have to be diligent with, that which that you have to feel like a failure through and feel really, really weak in, that's when you're getting strengthened. That's when you're really putting forth excellence. And excellence and diligence will always result in being promoted. That will always result in excellent and diligent results versus mediocre results. So I want you to do that. We're about to go to a break. I want you to grade yourself. Where are you excellent in the kitchen? Where are you excellent in the bedroom? Where are you excellent with your parenting? Excellent with consistency, with messaging to your kids, excellence with your involvement and listening to them and finding the deep dreams that have been planted inside of them by their creator, excellence in what matters to them, being able to understand that, walk with them in it, as well as excellence in disciplining them instead of just being too tired and ignoring them. Excellence in teaching them how to have good people skills and financial skills and how to dream and dream effectively. Grade yourself on this break, and let's see where we're at. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
My name's Derek, and this is my wife, Michelle, and we're the Holland Sheds. We live in Covina, California, about 45 minutes from here, and we're extremely honored to be able to share our story. And when we were approached about it, I was kind of thinking, well, where do I start? Where do we start? But I'm going to start a few years back before there was a Michelle and Derek. Actually, I was actually debt-free, and kind of going along pretty good. And then a funny thing happened. I got married, and I married into debt. And okay, we're going to do fine. We'll pay it off, and life will be good. But a funny thing happened was that didn't seem to happen. And what, as a result, it, just kind of thinking it's going to happen, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and something always happens, and and the result is that debt doesn't get paid. So it starts becoming like an old friend. And then unfortunately the marriage failed, but I was able to meet Michelle, and we got married. And, married into debt again. Only now it's a little bit bigger, but at least the house that I had, this was during the housing boom, so used some of the equity in the house to, pay that debt off. And okay, we got a clean state. Let's go forward. And but in our early days in our marriage, we had some difficulty as far as being on the same page financially, and Michelle will share a little bit more about that. And I guess it's a good point for me to hand it over to her.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Like Derek said, honestly, you guys, the first 7 years of our marriage, when I came into our marriage, Derek he paid up my debt all. And I ran our debt up 3 different times in the first 7 years of our marriage, you guys. I would have never imagined being in that spot. Derek didn't trust me. And it finally got to a place where, my gosh, I can't keep doing this. I was pretty much told to come to this event by a good friend of mine, and it was the best thing she could have said to me because it's what I needed. I would have not have come had I not have had that charge and challenge that way. The moment I got here, and we saw the war, I saw the war on debt. I said, this is it. This is our ticket. This is what's going to help us go to the next level. This is what's going to help us. You guys, we've since in 33 months, we have paid off over $159,000 worth of debt. We have money in savings. We have $300,000 in assets, income-producing assets. We continue to plug in. I was the first one to come, but immediately afterwards, I told my husband I couldn't wait. I called him. I told him about War on Debt. He immediately said, let's do it. We had some friends that hosted a War on Debt class there right after, and we went to it, and we found $502 worth of excess spending our first month, and we revisited our budget after that, and then we thought we were just broke, living paycheck to paycheck. We were overwhelmed. We felt hopeless. I never would have thought I would lose my husband's trust, and the techniques, the strategies that Dani Johnson teaches you guys helped us save our marriage, our finances, our communication. You guys, we started out with, my favorite product is spiritual equipping, and I know Darren has a favorite product.
We're on debt. You think?
You guys, we kind of bought things one by one. However, you guys have a great opportunity outside that door, that table out there, where you can buy the whole DJ University curriculum, and you get almost $1,000, over $1,000 off. So you have either option, but that's a great opportunity for you. Don't let anything stop you guys. There is hope, there is life, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here. So without further delay, you guys, help us welcome back America's favorite millionaire and our mentor and coach, Dani Johnson.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
When you, as a responsible parent, groom your children with excellence, I'm not talking about that you wash their hair and you clip their fingernails. I'm talking about that you train them up to be the future leaders of the nations. When you understand that our future lives in your home, and excellence is one of the things that you have to make sure before they leave your nest that they are very good at. When a child has been groomed with the understanding and character of excellence, there's nothing they cannot do. I mean, there's absolutely nothing they cannot do. They have the whole world that is ahead of them, and they know through the applications of excellence and learning and developing skill, they know they can accomplish anything under the sun. And I have found it to be completely true. It's the same with adults. Let me give you a prime example. Recently, we were with a group of people, a young 13 years old, and his 8-year-old sister had come out to First Steps to Success. Why? Because the parents want to groom their kids for success. They don't want to go the route that everybody else is going. They don't want to be like 98% parents. They want to give their kids which they wish they got when they were young. So they brought them out. 4 months later, we see the son again, and he had a goal and a dream. At that very first Steps to Success, the kid went from me, I want, to what can I do to help others succeed? He and his sister put a plan together. They start a little business. They're making truffles. 100% of the proceeds from the truffles are going to building houses. He, 13, she, 8, have a dream that in a year they would be able to have afforded to build 3 homes for the extreme poor. $5,200 to build one of these homes, right? And that also provides food for them, electricity, water, education, everything. It's a fully sustainable project. So these children catch this vision. They want to build 3 homes, which means they need roughly around $16,000 that they would need to raise inside of 12 months. They excellently start putting together these truffles. They excellently put a message with the truffles. They beautifully package these things, and they begin to knock on doors. They begin to tell people. They begin to use social media. They begin to sell them. By the time I had seen them in 4 months, they had already raised $3,000. This story inspired a room of 1,000 people from all over the world, and in 30 minutes, because of this kid and the 8-year-old, his name is Dietrich, by the way, because of this kid, and that, again, being groomed with excellence, walking towards it, being diligent, not realizing that this is a giant goal and it's totally impossible. Other adults that heard about that idea and vision that did nothing, but here's this kid who activates it with excellence. Are you ready for this? In 30 minutes, listen to me, in 30 minutes, $500,000 was raised. Not $16,000, $500,000 was raised because of the excellence of this kid. He motivated 1,000 people with his example. with the sacrifice he made, with the vision that he had, with the excellence that he and his 8-year-old sister put forth. Wow. So there's nothing that a kid cannot do, nothing, when they've been groomed to be excellent and to have diligence. So Chris is joining me from Michigan. Chris, what are you doing to groom your kids with excellence?
So I went to your training in January, and from there learned to do the grooming the next generation, and got that and started working on those types of things with my kids and allowing them to honor and respect myself along with each other, and learning about God and how to honor and respect him and the actions that they do. In turn helps other people.
Wow. And so what's the result? What have you seen?
So I'm a single mom. So from my end, I have seen a big difference. And I think the difficulty that I have is them when they go over to their dad's house, it's not the same. Like I try to tell them, or I try to give, the things that I learned from you.
Right.
This is what I've learned and this is what I'm trying.
Yeah.
See if you want to do this.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Let me ask you a real quick question.
This is where my difficulty comes in, is because
Chris,
I'm seeing results.
Chris, hold on.
But he's not.
I know,
so
but
it's hard to co-parent in that situation.
Yes. So Chris, let me ask you a question. Do you find that when the kids are sent to school for 8 hours a day, that their grooming style and their strategy is different than yours?
They do. They listen to the adults. In fact, I
No. That's not what I'm saying.
They listen to me.
That's not the question that I asked.
Okay.
That's not the question that I asked. Do you believe that the school is using the same exact strategies that you are using at home?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Exactly. And do you think that there is complete opposing views from the teachers, the school books, the administration, then versus what you are using with grooming the next generation for success?
Oh, totally.
Absolutely. Next question. Do you think that out of all of the kids that your kids are hanging out with, how many of those kids are not grooming your kids for success?
Oh, a lot of them, yes.
Right? So you're telling me for 8 hours a day minimum, your kids are in an environment that is in complete opposition from their peers, the teachers, the administration, and the crap that's in the textbooks. All of that is in complete opposition of what you are planning into your kids diligently and excellently with grooming the next gen.
Right.
Then quit using your husband as an excuse, because they're not with him as long as they are at school. So what you are planting in those kids is and will forever make a difference. They will forever be around people that have opposing views, opposing opinions, opposing habits, opposing everything. And so you can't blame your husband, ex-husband, and you cannot use him as an excuse because they're barely with him. Period.
Okay. Right.
So quit looking at what your husband, ex-husband isn't doing. It's probably how y'all ended up divorced. Don't look at him.
True.
Yeah. Look at you. It doesn't matter how their father does things. He is their father. Let him be their father. I'm gonna share this with you. It's so freaking funny. Okay, the reason why I'm coming at you so strong is because all of us people, humans, men and women, we love to use someone else as a scapegoat. We love to point the finger in that direction and say, now that's why this is not as easy as it should be. I've hated that I've done that so many times in my life. Okay, so check it. 22 years ago. Yeah, 21. Let's say 21 years ago. Okay, I've had 3 kids. I am finally going to go leave the house for a weekend with my girlfriends. We're going to go rent a house at the beach. We're going to play cards. We're going to pig out. We're going to stay up all night. We're going to talk. Okay? So my husband was so gracious. He was young. He might have been 20 at this point. No, 21 at this point. He agrees. He's going to take the kids. I leave, right? All right. You got to grab this picture, Chris. I come home 2.5 days later. And the kids are wearing the same exact clothes. And they are filthy. And my daughter, Erica, who has naturally curly hair, she has dreadlocks everywhere. They both have food on their faces and in their hair. They have not had a bath for 2.5 days. They're in the same clothes, which meant they slept in the same clothes. I came unglued, Chris. I was so mad. I was like, oh, did you even feed them? Well, actually, I know that you fed them because they're wearing food all over their clothes and all over their face and their hair. Did you not clean them up? Did they not have a bath? Did they not go to sleep? I was just the drama queen. I was so mad at him. And he very calmly looked at me and said, Dani, I am their father. I am not their mother. And as their father and as a man, I'm going to do things not exactly the same as you, who are a woman and their mother, are going to do things. So if you want the freedom to go with your girlfriends and have a nice carefree weekend, you just need to know they are still alive. They had a blast. Yes, they did sleep. And we had a great time together. I'm just not going to do things the way you do them. I was like, okay. And he was right. I was expecting him to be a woman. And that was wrong. Right. I was expecting him to care for the kids and to think of the kids like a woman and a mother cares for them. That was completely wrong. They have a father, and the father wanted to play. The house was a disaster. Oh my gosh. And that was his prerogative, to have freedom without the Nazi around keeping to a schedule and doing everything perfect, which was me. Anyway, I hope that helps. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
So when should you teach your kids about things like managing money, careers, and relationships? When we come back, Dani has some unique insights about it.
You want to succeed, right? But you do not want to fail God at the same time. There is a way to succeed from a biblical perspective, and it's far greater than anything you could ever imagine. Over 500 scriptures I studied to study money, everything that the Bible said about money. That's in the first couple chapters of Spirit-Driven Success. Not to mention leadership, working with people, growing a career, being used mightily in the marketplace, which is where Abraham, God used him in the marketplace. And Joseph, God used him in the marketplace. Moses, God used him in the marketplace. Daniel, Solomon, really all of the greats of faith, most of the greats of faith throughout the Bible, they all were in the marketplace. And God wants to show you how you can be used mightily by him in the marketplace. Right here, Spirit-Driven Success is where all of my notes are on how you can do that. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Spirit-Driven Success today.
My name is Andres and I'm from Latvia. Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a struggling English teacher back home. I had a language school that I started when I was 21 and had grown it to be pretty okay in my city. But at the same time, I had acquired a debt of $60,000. In a matter of 8 to 9 months, I got rid of my debt. And by 2011, we had our first $1 million year. This has been amazing. We grew our school from about 100 students to 2,000 students, and I can only highly recommend for you to come to the next event and be part of this community and learn the tools that will help you to succeed.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, my family and I were hemorrhaging under the pressures of debt. Since attending First Steps to Success in January of 2014, my family and I have paid off over $147,000 in 19 months. We're completely consumer debt-free. We have restored relationships, and our business is growing at a rate of 15% at every event. Your next step is to sign up for the next First Steps to Success and start creating your own story.
My name is Jeff Conyers, and prior to First Steps to Success, I was a struggling business owner. I had discovered that my business account went negative $5,000, and I realized that I did not have a business plan and I needed to do something. Fast forward to 1 year after, I have now created, just by implementing the tools at First Steps to Success, over $50,000, created another business, improved my personal and business relationships. Man, it's like the story is forever changing, and it just gets better and better. I don't know about you or what you're going through, but I would highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, we were drowning under a mountain of debt. We were heading to divorce court. We had failing businesses and toxic relationships. Since plugging into First Steps to Success, our marriage has been restored. We have paid off over $56,000 in 11 months. We've helped our community pay off over $300,000 in 14 months. My business has grown in over 600% in 4 months. And for the first time, I could say I'm just loving life. I have great relationships. So if you are fine where you are, then this event is not for you. But if you're ready to reach your goal and to change your life, then I highly recommend that you get registered for the next event.
Hi, my name is Jill Kearns. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Prior to coming to First Steps to Success, my husband and I were struggling financially and were hurting in our relationship a lot. We needed more time together, and we just were struggling with that because of the finances. And so since plugging in, we've actually paid off over $280,000 in debt. We're completely debt-free, and more than anything else, the look on my husband's face of relief and excitement about where our future lies, and the traveling and the fun, enjoyable times that we'll get to spend together as a family is totally worth it. So if you want to have better relationships with your significant other, your children, if you have a desire to be completely debt-free and released from that bondage for whatever reason, whatever the burdens are, your next step is to get to First Steps to Success right now.
So prior to getting started to DaniJohnson.com, I was a college dropout. I was working a bottom of the barrel type job. I started plugging into her training. I've skyrocketed through the ranks of corporate America. I've tripled my income in the last 5 years. That's all fine and dandy, but it wasn't, there's a part of me that had a part missing. So I ended up using Dani's prospecting skills, and I ended up meeting the love of my life. Since then, we've paid off $32,000 of debt since October 2014. So get here now. This is the greatest thing ever. You have to see this. The skills and strategies Dani teaches are unbelievable. They totally took someone like me with no education and helped me just like multiply my efforts. So you need to be here.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, you're just so serious about this whole kid thing and like setting kids up for success. It's just too much. Just let kids be kids. They got the rest of their life to be in business. They got the rest of their life to deal with relationships. They got the rest of their life to work. They got the rest of their life to worry about money. Why in the world am I going to overload my kids right now with any of that kind of talk? Well, you go ahead and have fun with that. You also have fun with the bills you're going to get from the $100,000 wasted education that you set your kids up with that they were totally irresponsible with, didn't know anything to do with, and therefore are totally irresponsible and ill-prepared for the real life, which involves business, finances, and relationships. Do you actually think for 2 seconds That your 25-year-old is going to come to you asking you for relationship advice? Do you actually think your 21-year-old is going to come to you about career advice and how to get promoted in their job? Do you actually think for 3 seconds that your 19-year-old is going to come to you and ask you about investing? No, they ain't. The only time you got a captive audience is from 0 to 18. And that's about it, and that's if you're lucky. Some of them are going to leave house way before they're 18. You don't have as much time as you think. And do you actually think that the school system's going to prepare them for that? Try again. Pull your head out. Our school system is completely grooming your kid for failure every single day, opposing everything you're planting into your kid and grooming them for mediocrity, grooming them for dead or dead broke at the age of 65, grooming them to fail in marriage, grooming them to fail in their finances. Why? Because people who are failing are fearful, worried, filled with anxiety, and depressed and on antidepressant. And depressed people are easy to control. So wake up, girlfriend. Wake up, boyfriend. It is time to become a parent and diligently groom your kids with excellence. Groom them and teach them with what everything the school isn't teaching them, the stupid cartoons you're letting them watch, the stupid music you're letting them listen to, the stupid movies you're letting them watch, all that crap that is filling their mind with how to be mediocre, how to be miserable, and to end up a failure. Divorced 2, 3, 4, or 5 times. Let me tell you something. If there's anything good that's going to come out of your kid, it's because you diligently focused and had a plan of success for them. And if they choose not to use it, wash your hands. Wash your hands. You know at least you could sleep well at night knowing that you planted the very best that you could inside of your kids. Fact is, you got a little bit of time to teach them about money, the responsibility of it. They're watching your bad habits with money. They're going to repeat your habits with money. They're going to end up in debt and not be able to pay it. They're going to end up suffering. They're going to end up fighting because of the debt. So therefore, you got to get responsible financially, and you got to teach your kids how to be financially responsible. No one else is going to teach them. About business, about work ethic. That's your job to teach them the right attitude about work, not saying the stupid thing that everybody else says, which everyone else who's failing. I hate Mondays. I can't wait till Fridays. I hate my boss. I can't stand my job. That's a failure attitude, and that's the attitude that ends up broke. It's your job to teach your kids to have the right attitude about doing dishes, making their bed, sweeping the floor, and doing the weeds in the yard. It's your job to teach them that kind of excellence. And when you teach them the right attitude about that, girlfriend, boyfriend, I'm telling you, your kids will rise up and call you blessed, and they will be a blessing to everyone else that is around them. It's your job to teach them how to manage their emotions. It's your job to teach your kids how to manage relationships. It's your job to teach them how to communicate more effectively instead of manipulating like everybody else on the planet does. It's your job to make sure that you left no stone unturned. You only got 18 years to do it, so you better turn off the TV. You better get busy. You better start learning what your kids should know so you can set them up for success instead of failure. Sorry, I'm a little passionate about kids, and I'm really passionate about us doing our job. Sorry. The fact is so many people are leaving it up to church to try to teach their kids something. So many people are trying to leave it up to the soccer coach to teach the kids something. People are leaving it up to the school teachers to teach your kids something. They ain't going to teach them squat. It's your job. It's your post. It's your calling. And it's time to get really, really serious about it. That's what I love about this community of people that are a part of DaniJohnson.com and Destiny Global. They've got the vision of grooming the next generation for success because our future president is in our homes right now. The future presidents of companies and nations is in your home right now. The future heads of households and the future helpmates of the households. The future pastors of churches are in our households. And they're going to be trained up by you. And what you plant in them is going to flourish. I promise you. There might be times where they hate what you plant in them, but I promise you, it's going to come right back. There might be a season that they turn away from it. Yeah. And they'll find, oh, yeah, yuck. Oh, man, that's nasty. Like my son. He works for the most successful chain in the world. 15 years old, he bought his first house. 18 years old, he becomes a general manager of the most successful franchise in the world. Give me a break. Dealing with 40-year-olds who don't know how to pay their bills. Dealing with 40-year-olds who don't know how to show up to work on time. He's looking at them going, really? You don't know how to show up on time? I'm the teenager here. You should know exactly how to show up on time. Linnea from Mississippi. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dani. You are passionate, and I love this so much.
I am. I'm so passionate about this subject. More than probably, there's maybe one or two subjects that I'm equally as passionate. But anyway, so what about you? What do you think about excellence and diligence you training your kids with that?
Wow. Well, I'm 38, a first-time mom. My daughter's only 2, so she's
at
the beginning of this.
Oh, my gosh.
She's just at the beginning of this, but I feel such a tremendous obligation. Like, you speaking here is just lighting a fire in me because my husband and I are blessed. We own our own company, and so our daughter comes with us. I mean, she doesn't I'm scared to death to put her on anybody else's care because of everything that you're saying. I want her to see how hard I work and, to go see her dad when he's, working. When I'm on the phone right now, she knows to sit. She doesn't watch TV. Man, I'm so scared of what's on television.
And should be.
And but, I was raised by a single mom that didn't have a lot of the resources that we had, but she groomed us with excellence with what she had, empowered us through Christ and through the Bible and the work that she did do, even though she wasn't making the money that my husband and I make now. Everything she did, for the Lord. So I think that instilled in me very young a lot of the same habits that I've carried with me throughout my whole life. And, she told me when I was 13 and I learned about college, and she said, Linnea, if you ever want to go to college, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. I don't have the means. So I went out and got a paper route and started a babysitting club. And, I paid my way through college. I knew that. So it wasn't that, she didn't have, I hate to say that because success is so different, for everybody. But I knew that I had to work hard, and if I wanted something...
That's the greatest gift she could have gave you, Linnea. That is the greatest gift she could have gave you. You think about all these kids in college, the parents are paying for it, and they ain't going to do anything with it. Your mom gave you a great gift of not having means to put you through college. She taught you and prepared you in advance that if you're going to succeed, it's going to be up to you. That was a successful mother. That was an outrageously successful single mother who still used excellence and diligence to train you guys up and get you to a place that now her best success is your floor, your platform where you're starting from, which I think is so, so powerful. Linnea, I'm so proud of who you've become, and I am most proud of who your mom was. You tell her that I think she's awesome, and she did an amazing job. To hear you shout like this over the media about who she was and what she taught you and what she planted in you, you could only hope that your daughter would say the same thing about you. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
The way you look at things is about to change. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
My name's Erin Hudson, and I'm from Huntington Beach, California. I just have to share with you, I never thought I'd be up here in a million years, and I have to tell you, my story is not my story. My story is to help each one of you, to give you a little bit more hope. And as I share with you my story, I apologize up front, I get really emotional. We have been through hell and back. And I share this with you again to really give you hope, okay? Prior to coming to First Steps, we had filed for bankruptcy in 2010. I was a broken woman. My marriage was in a downward spiral. My kids were completely out of control. My business ruled my life night and day. And then I found Dani Johnson. Since attending First Steps to Success in July of 2012, my marriage has been restored. My kids are now the most respectable, loving children to one another and to their parents. We never traveled anywhere. We now travel around the world and have traveled with many of you that we consider close friends. We've gone to Belize the last 2 years, and I've been able to share with my children and show them how to serve others that are in more need than any of us happen to be. On top of that, our biggest accomplishment yet, I would have to say, is last month we paid off the last of our debt, and we paid off in the last 2 years and 2 months, $892,000. Wait, hold on, and some cents. $892,522 of debt, and we are now officially business and personal debt free. I have to say, this core report that Dani's going to equip you with today is going to change you. You're going to become a phenomenal champion communicator, and just with what she's going to teach you this afternoon, we're projected to hit $1 million, and I know it's because of what she's going to teach you in this next portion. And without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce my mentor and coach, America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
We're going over here to Twana Phelps from Oregon. Twana, I got 1 minute left. What has happened since you started grooming your kids with excellence and diligence?
Well, we are definitely, as a household, so much more in tune with our goals as a group.
Yes.
My husband and I, we started with you, about almost 2 years ago, and since then we've been engaging and being teachable and, giving them the opportunity to learn as we go as well. You know, my kids are 14 and 12. We're coming to see you this month. We're so excited.
Yes.
And, we've had them read things like First Steps to Wealth, Grooming the Next Gen,
Yes.
7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens.
Yes.
We want them to be equipped with the most amount of tools as possible for success, because I have some brilliant children in my house.
That's so
and
awesome.
I'm so excited to see where they go. And having the tools that I didn't have exposure to as someone their age is just going to be priceless.
Isn't it?
I'm so excited.
And I can hear the hope and the excitement that you have in your voice. You know what I mean? That man, I'm giving my kids the best that I possibly can. And most people's definition of giving my kids the best is buying them a bunch of junk. That's the worst thing you could do to your kid. But this, I am so proud of you, Twana. You are an awesome mother. What an awesome woman. Your husband, what an awesome father, that you are grooming their minds and preparing them to be champions in the marketplace and in the home, to be champions spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. It's amazing. So few parents actually do this with their children. Hey, listen, I don't know if you got anything out of today's program, but if you did, freely you have received, now freely give. Give 2 things. 1, give this link to somebody else so they can view today's program. Share it on social media. In fact, come over and say hi and let us know that you are watching or listening to today's program. Dani Johnson Live is the page you can share it on, as well as send it an email or text it to people. The other thing is, please freely tell us how you enjoyed today's program, what you got out of it, and how it affected you. You can do that at DaniJohnson.com. Again, that's DaniJohnson.com. Click on watch. It has today's program right there, and just leave us a comment. We read these comments. They matter to us, and it helps to continue to fuel what we're doing. Last, I'd like to give you this woman that's having her kids read these books. I also would challenge you to come join us in Nicaragua. Join us, the whole family, coming together to help make a difference in a nation who has nothing, who has lost all hope, that kids are not getting the chance to even learn how to read, let alone have a book put in their hands. You can make a difference for generations to come. You can help take poverty, extreme poverty, and demolish it with us. Go to kingsransom.org right now. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Kingsransom.org. You'll see 1,000 homes. This community of business people are building 1,000 homes. We'd love for you to join us, and we'd love for you to come down there on a trip that we'll be taking here real soon. God bless you. I hope that you have a great rest of the day.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. This has been the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.